delighted to be here today. Boonville Library, what a place. I spend lots of time here, and I encourage you to do the same. And you know, I have a little dictionary I found this morning, and I believe I got this at the library sale. They have those periodically, and I go every time. You say, well, I've got a lot of books, so do I, but I still come to the library sale, and I get books that I can use, and also just something that I can hang on to indefinitely, because I love books and always have. So I want you to know that if you're discouraged in any way, welcome today. We all find discouragement sometimes, and we're here to encourage you through our friends, And this is called Snoopy and Friends, Story Time with Mrs. Sue. And it started in January, and now today is the 10th of February, and we're still continuing, and it's been really lots of fun and lots of help. It says here, all ages welcome. So I just want you to know Snoopy and the gang, they're a part of this celebration when we celebrate life through Snoopy and Friends. So thank you for being here. So I hope that when you leave today that you will feel better than the way you came in, because that's what I hear about. And when I encourage you, it encourages me. Believe me, I know. Now, I wanted to tell you something else before we get too far. I know what Wednesday is, so this morning I spent some time looking at what I could do with Valentine's. So, I have a Valentine for the dear friends here, and I'm going to read it to you because it's all about Snoopy, and it says here, and we know this is Charlie Brown and Snoopy. It says, all we really need is love. And I don't use that word love all the time. I just use the word care. And I looked up my word care today, and it's called concern. We need to care about each other. And so I'm saying in a good way. So, but a little chocolate now and then doesn't hurt. So, if you like chocolate, it's okay, but don't overeat because it can rot your teeth. I was talking to my dentist worker yesterday, and we talked about that. And I have to get after my husband. He could eat the whole, I caught him eating a whole bag of cookies. And now do I tell him what I usually tell him? Now, you know that's not good for you. You just have a few. Well, so be it. But find joy in each day and let someone else help you besides Mrs. Sue direct your path, because I want you to be okay. Now, in starting, I want to tell you one thing that I am concerned about you. And you adults, too. You grow up too fast. You ask a child, how old are you? You know what? Very likely they will tell me, 7.5. And I say to myself, slow down, child, be a child. Those years will go so fast. And I am not going to tell you how old I am today, but I'm going to tell you I had no idea that I would be sitting here at my age talking to you. But I'm happy to be here. Trust me, I love books, I love to come with groups, and I love to work with libraries, including my most important stop here of all libraries, Boonville Library. So find joy in each day, enjoy the little things, and be yourself. And I have a book that I've been reading about attitude. I want you to zoom in on what you're good at. What do you do best? Then I want you to zoom in on what you think you can't do well. I had a class in college, and I went to college 3 different times and got through 3 different times. And the first time when I was in high school talking to them about college, I didn't have any money to go to school. But it took me a while to get all 3 degrees, but I got my license. I had worked many years with one place, and won't tell you where that is. You can talk to me one-on-one if you want to. But my point here is we've got to prepare. And so we have to be who we are and do the best we can. So pay attention to what you do well and develop that skill and have someone in your life help you. Your teacher, your mom or dad, or somebody else that you can trust, okay? So why am I saying this? Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite characters. And this is Linus. Now, I remember Charlie Brown Christmas, and we won't talk a lot about that, but that's a great book that Charlie Schultz put together. And Linus is a very good character in this whole scheme of things. And he wants to help everybody, but he wants his blanket. And Lucy doesn't want him to have his blanket. Well, Lucy, she thinks she's got to tell everybody what to do and how to do it and when to do it. Hello? Poor Charlie Brown. He'll come in to Lucy and ask for help, and she'll just discourage him, and he'll just go away. Oh, why me? Why me? Why me? Why me? No, 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 no. Look at your strengths, focus on those strengths, and use those strengths. And again, talk to someone that can help you with that. Now, we're going to take some time here, and I have some Valentine notes here and some Valentine hearts. And then it says here, Heart Day. You know that's Wednesday. This little wish says, just a simple wish for happiness on Valentine's Day. I wish you well. I want you to do well with your life. Even you adults, whatever age you are, don't you worry about that. You just be yourself, show up, and build a better world by caring. You say, aren't you getting a little dramatic? Yes, because I think we need more people who show up and try to build that world. Because I run across, professionally and otherwise, friends, that people seem like they're so discouraged and they don't care. Please, that's a dangerous place to be. So stay with me, and we will get through this, because I want you to know more about Linus. He's amazing. Now, just a minute. I trust you know who this is. This is Charlie Brown, right? Okay, we've talked about Charlie Brown. And I know that you know who this is, Snoopy. And remember what we said, this is Snoopy and Friends. Now, I'm going to just briefly, this is in the library, and I'm going to turn it in today so you can get that. It says, who cares Charlie Brown? We have a lot of people in here. Now, we have a calendar here, a card here that's got the whole gang. But I just want you to know the characters. There's Sally, there's Charlie Brown, there's Linus, there's Lucy, there's Snoopy, there's Schroeder, and those other two I'm not sure yet. But in the back of this book, it identifies some of the characters. So we will not take much time doing that, but I want you to know that Charlie Brown and Linus always get my attention because I want to see what they're up to. So these books are wonderful. Now, let's begin. This is by Charles Schulz. And he's not around anymore, but I tell you what, we still look to him because he had a lot of wisdom. His wisdom is in his books, his stories, his DVDs, his movies. All right, so this was by Simon and Simon Spotlight, it says. I know about Simon and Schuster, I think, but I do want you to know that we give credit to where the book is from and what date it was put together. It's Simon and Schuster, an imprint, and it was put together in 2015. So when I look at a book, I always examine the front, and then I examine the back. What's in the back? And you may not want to do this, but sometimes I even go back and look and see how the story ends to see if I really want to read this book. Friends, I got so many books that I want to read. I can't read them all. And I got a library at home, and I still come to the library here to get more books. But remember, we don't keep what doesn't belong to us. We return these books, and we do our best to turn them in on time because we got so much time to read and do that book, right? And you may have a fine. Don't you worry about that, but if you want to avoid a fine, you've got to pay attention, get it back. So here we are, lose the blanket, Linus. Okay, here's Linus. He's smiling, he's happy, happy, happy. This is Linus. He loves his blanket. Now some of you already know that, but he loves his blanket. And we know who's going to show up. Who's that? Lucy. And he loves it more than anything in the world. That's interesting. His blanket is soft. It makes him feel happy. I told you, do the things that you enjoy. He likes that blanket. He feels more secure with that blanket. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to be embarrassed about this. Sometimes when I can't sleep well, I go to one of my stuffed friends, and we sleep together. You say, at your age? Yes. It's okay. Make fun if you want. I don't care. I got to get to sleep, and that helps me sometimes. And I say a prayer, too. Okay. Well, it makes him happy. He likes the way the fabric feels, and it makes him feel calm. That's what he's looking for, calmness. Understand? I truly understand. He holds that blanket. He feels like everything will be all right, no matter what. Well, look what Lucy does. She comes in, and she takes that blanket away from him. Now, I'm not going to read every word here to you, the book. You're going to have to get the book to see the whole story. Well, she grabs it out of his hand. He is not happy. He is not happy at all. I wonder what that was all about, Linus thinks. And he turns to pick up the blanket. The blanket is nowhere to be found. Oh, boy. Now, what has she done with that blanket? Let's find out. Okay, Linus is looking and searching for that blanket. Here she shows up. And he's just amazed. So she tells him, I buried your blanket. Oh, no. Well, Linus can't believe it. You buried my blanket? You can't do that. I'll die without that blanket. Oh, she just stares at him. She doesn't say a word. He gets angry. Tell me where you buried it. Linus tells his friend Charlie Brown about what happened. Thank God Charlie Brown came And because he calmed Linus, he needed that friend, okay? Sometimes we need good friends to help us too. Okay, so she buried it, Charlie Brown. She said she was going to cure me of the habit once and for all, so she buried my blanket. Linus looks around in the backyard. How am I ever going to find it? He says. Well, Charlie Brown decides to sleep over at Linus's house to help him and get that blanket. So he pulls up a chair and he watches Linus as he sleeps. He tosses and turns in his sleep. Linus is not sleeping well, kids. Sometimes things show up in our lives that makes us not sleep well too. Beware, beware. Get some help. Some help. Someone you can trust at home or elsewhere. Be sure that they're safe people too, right? Yes. Okay. This is going to be a long night, Charlie Brown. Suddenly Linus opens his eyes. He looks at Charlie Brown. Is it morning yet? No. And it's only 10 o'clock. This night is going to last forever. He lets out a sigh. Anyway, Charlie Brown, he's nice, and he's being nice to Linus, and Linus is just so happy that he's there, and he smiles. And Charlie Brown is glad that he's sharing with his friend his lost blanket. Well, a little while later, Linus closes his eyes, and then Charlie Brown thinks he's finally gone to sleep. Maybe if he makes it through the night without his blanket, he'll be all right. Sleep is just what he needs. Well, how's he doing? Lucy's voice comes through the room. And so much for a good night's rest, Charlie Brown says. The next day, Lucy comes over to chat with him. You think I'm being mean because I buried his blanket, don't you? Charlie Brown doesn't say a thing. We know what he really thought, huh? Okay. Well, I'm not. I'm really doing him a favor. He's too weak to ever break the habit by himself. He's as weak as you are. Charlie Brown, she says that to him. I don't think I like that comparison. So see, poor old Lucy, she has a big responsibility to fix the whole world and fix everybody in her path. Beware. Sometimes we have to try to help, and sometimes we just have to move on and find somebody who would be the right person and the right thing to help. In a good way, okay? Beware. Charlie Brown tries everything he can think of to help his friend. I have a suggestion, Linus. Why don't you let me try to give you a substitute? Would you like this dish towel? Linus does not like that idea. Would you give a starving dog a rubber bone? No, thank you. What Linus wants is still his blanket. Will he get his blanket? How many of you think he will get the blanket? Okay, I see that. Now, from the moment Linus wakes up to the next day, he feels terrible. He goes into the kitchen, takes out a box of cereal, pours his milk. I can't even eat. Lucy feels just fine. She's relaxing, reading a book. Please tell me where you buried it. Now you remember, they are brother and sister. Linus and our dear friend here, I believe she's a friend too, Lucy. But they don't always get along, and that happens too. So work together, get some help if you need some help. Well, we've just got to find that blanket, Charlie Brown. Lucy won't tell me where she buried it. I've got to dig it until I find it. Charlie Brown admires his determination. Good luck. Well, Linus keeps digging. Got to find it, he says. Got to dig everywhere until I find that blanket. Got to find it. Now, he's a little bit crazy right now, as you can see. He's just wanting nothing but that blanket back, okay? Have you ever lost something and you really wanted it back? I've lost a few things too, just like you. And I look and I look and I look, and I have a little prayer that says, oh, please help, please help, please help. And most of the time, I find it. If I don't find it, I've got to learn from that experience. Did I make a mistake putting it somewhere? Well, sure, I should have never. Did it fall out of the car, or what happened? So when we lose something, we do feel lost, don't we, sometimes? So he says, I got to find it. So we can identify with Linus right now, even with that. Well, Snoopy can't understand why he's so upset. Finding things that are buried is easy for Snoopy. He sniffs. There it is. Hey, guess who finds it? Wow, Snoopy. Snoopy's quite a friend. Well, my blanket, Linus yells. Oh, Snoopy, you found it. That's precious to me, kids. Sometimes we're lost but found, and we have to find ourselves sometimes. You may not understand what that means right now, but as you get older, you will understand that. But find somebody in your life you can trust, and make sure you can trust them. And if you have a problem, get some help. Just like Snoopy helped Linus in a good way. Linus says it over and over and over again. When Linus finally lets him go, Snoopy goes back into his doghouse. I've done my good deed for the day. And he feels really good, so he's going to take a nap. All right, we're about through with this story. The next day, Charlie Brown talks to Lucy about Linus and his blanket. I hear Linus put his blanket back, Charlie Brown says. Lucy frowns. Yeah, your nosy dog found it and dug it up. Oh, well, I don't care. I'm through trying to help people. They never appreciate it anyway. Well, Lucy, that's how Lucy faces every day. She wants to help people. But in a good way, we can reach out to help. And I'm going to tell you how you could do that. This says, use your smile. Use your smile to change the world. You can make the world a better place. That's what I try to do. And often we are able to make a better place just simply because we try kindness. And my friends, your kindness makes a difference. Now, I want you to be safe. Everyone at this library wants you to be safe when you reach out to try to help someone, because sometimes we can get connected with the wrong people, the wrong things. So please be safe. And always work in twos if you're running around somewhere. And I agree that your parents would tell you the same thing, and your teacher as well, and Mrs. Sue, and the other librarian workers here too, including Heather. Well, I want you to know there's a lot of things to know and to understand through this beautiful story. And he says, okay. She says she's not going to help anybody, but she'll do it, and it's okay. But she has to learn sometimes that people want to hear so much and no more. I try to tell people one time, and I don't have to keep going back and telling them the same thing, because either they're going to listen to me or they're not going to, and I have to learn. Now, Sue, you don't have to keep telling the same thing. Be mindful. Okay, nosy dog, she shouts. Well, Snoopy giggles. He isn't the least bit sorry he helped Linus get his blanket back. And here's Linus. Oh, what a great picture. Hey, Linus is happy again. My friends, don't let anything steal your joy. You don't understand what that means, find out what that means. Again, don't let anything steal your joy. And then I have another saying I pass out sometimes. Rest I must, but I cannot quit. Rest you must, you cannot quit. We have a lot to do to show up and build that better world just by caring. We have lots to do every day. Keep showing up, keep caring. And try kindness. Safely. Linus can't stop hugging his blanket. My blanket, I got it back. I can't believe, oh, my good old blanket. He holds it and he studies it. It's been buried beneath the ground for days and days. But he doesn't care so much that he's just glad he's got the blanket back. I'm glad for him. I hope you are too. Well, it's my blanket. Now, do you realize you can't hold on that blanket forever, Lucy says? Someday you're going to have to lose the blanket, Linus, whether you like it or not. He tries to imagine being a grown-up. Pictures going to work, and he knows he probably can't bring his blanket to work with him. Well, who knows? Maybe he could bring something that can help him, encourage him, because every day I find something that I carry. Like I have a dictionary. I have these little magnets that I get from the store to remind me to keep carrying. There's something that can help us each day. And I think good books, I've always made a habit to read. Find good books in Boonville Library that will help you and encourage you. And we have some great librarians here. They can help you find that book if you need help. Well, Linus tries to imagine that, and Linus says, that's very true, Lucy. I realize someday I'll have to give up my blanket. But guess what? I like what he says, but not today. Wow, wow. Linus, and she says, I give up. No, she doesn't give up. She's going to rest from Linus and the rest of the world, because sometimes she just has to rest, just like you and I. Now, we've said a lot today, but if I could say something again, you make the world a better place by showing up and caring. Be sure to appreciate this place and let them know. I have a card from my friends from Christmas, and I keep carrying it around because they made me feel so good when they sent me a Christmas card or gave me a Christmas card. So hold on to those things that you can cherish, because it may not be a blanket, but it will be something that can help you feel better about your day and find joy in each day. Because every day is a good day when you're breathing. My friend who almost lived to be 105, he says, nothing so bad, it can't be worse. God bless you. Have a good day. Thank you for sharing with us today. Linus, Lose the Blanket, Linus, by Charles Schultz. Find it here in the library. Thank you. Bless you.
Hello, Miss Sue.
Hi.
So, what is it that you like to do when you come and do story time? Because you volunteer for story time. What is it that you like doing for story time?
Well, I like to encourage people to have a reason for showing up.
Yes.
You know, life is so important, and sometimes we get so burdened by everything that's happening around us, and even at home and school and elsewhere, that we just miss the joy of the day. And I want big folks and little folks and Sue folks, including Sue, to know that it's okay. We're going to have stress in our life, but yet there's more to life than just pointing out the deficiencies of our life. We got to count on our strengths and build a better world by caring, and I tell people that message just about everywhere I go. Show up, build a better world by caring, and I think you do that just by trying to show concern and kindness. Now, my husband always, when I get in a hurry to go, he's got some health issues, he wants me to take time, and when I've got to get out the door, I won't answer all of his questions because he is getting more apt than not sicker, but I'm going to trust my higher power on that one. But whenever I don't answer his questions, he says, "Oh, you're just mean." No, sometimes we've got to make sure we're okay while we're working with other people, and I stress that too. And I see kids wanting to grow up too fast. You know, you ask them an age, and they'll tell you, "Oh, 7.5," and I'll say, "No, wait a minute, you still 7. You wait till you get 8." Slow down and be a kid. So I really am here to encourage families and children and others, because when you give up, man, that's a very serious problem, very serious. And I've seen that in my life and other ways professionally.
Well, we really appreciate you coming to the library and doing this with all the kids and the adults as well. Is there one thing that you could tell everybody that would help them to know that it's important to keep reading?
Well, yes, I mean, this is personal, but I've been a big reader most of my life. And I won't tell you how old I am. I just had another birthday. I'm not ashamed of it, but it's just for me. But my point here is I've used books all my life to help me get through life. I didn't always have the friends. You know, we're talking here about Snoopy and Friends, story time with Mrs. Sue. I didn't always have the friends in my life, but I found good books. And I remember one friend who visited me years later at our home. Our family was around. They said, "Sue always read books. What happened to you guys?" Well, thank God for those good books that helped me. And I've had some readers, and I've been doing book clubs for a long time here and elsewhere. And I do encourage people to read and just decide for themselves what they want to read. And then when I find a good book, I want to read it, and I want to know more about the author, and I want to know what the content of the book is before I even start reading it. So I examine a book that I get, because I got so many books that I want to read, I can't read them all. So I can only selectively choose, but I'm doing a lot of right things by selecting the right books that help me grow. And that's what I'm most interested in, personal growth, and that includes spiritual growth. So I encourage people to pay attention to what's there at the library for you. And it may not be the same thing that I would pursue, but I hope it would be for good values that will help your life run more smoothly and more significantly, and living on purpose.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Sue, for doing this video with us. We sure do appreciate it.
Thank you very much for letting me be here to encourage others.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.